Welcome back, ceramicists. This is Mr. Lewis, and I'm here today to show you how to turn a slab into a functional form using a mold. You're going to find a lot of our materials and tools over here in the corner, like our guide sticks and rolling pins. Please make sure that you're using guide sticks big enough to make sure that the walls of what you make are strong. Don't go any thinner than the yellow guide sticks, please. Don't forget the canvas and our molds are right there in the same corner that you get your guide sticks and rolling pins from. As soon as you've got everything that you need, set up your workspace. Make sure that you've got enough room to roll slabs. Here I'm using the purple guide sticks because I want the bowl that I'm going to make to be nice and thick. Remember, when you're rolling slabs, it's important to roll on both sides of the clay and to turn your clay 90 degrees a few times to stretch out both vertically and horizontally so that the clay is big enough to fit on the mold. If you want to eliminate any cracks or splits, make sure that you use a rib to smooth out the slab after you roll it. I'm using the rib that I got from the second drawer next to the sink to smooth both sides of the slab before I start to form it onto the mold. Molds can be found in the shelves above the rolling pins and canvas. Choose any mold of any kind that you would like to use for this project, and then bring it back to your workspace so that you can use the slab that you've smoothed and prepped and rolled out into an even thickness to prepare it for the mold. Lay your slab on top of the mold and make sure that you start to press down lightly all the way around the surface, trying to stretch the clay without smashing it or making it too thin in any given spot. Once the clay's taken the basic shape of the mold, you can use a rib or a wet sponge to smooth the surface of the clay as it lays across the mold. Then it's time to cut off the excess clay. You might need a banding wheel. Those can be found in the cabinets and shelves underneath the plants right next to the molds. With the banding wheel in your workstation, be careful because it is two pieces and the bottom can fall off if you pick up the top by itself. Place your mold on top of the banding wheel, and then it might be necessary to get some cutting tools. Those are located over on the table next to the podium. I'm going to use one of the tiny little triangular blades that can be found on the end of the scraper. You can also use one of the fettling knives if you wish. The easiest thing to do is to use the blade and hold it in one position while you spin the banding wheel with the mold and clay on top of it. You might need to recompress the clay around the mold as it might have separated from the mold as you were cutting. Here I noticed that my cut that I made in the wall of clay wasn't as straight as I wanted it to be, so I'm trying one more time to create a flat and even rim on the bowl that I'll be taking off of the mold. Once I've really cleaned up the edge and made sure that it looks as nice as possible, I'm going to smooth that edge and recompress the clay just to make sure that it's nice and stable and strong on the mold. We're almost done. We're almost ready to take our clay off the mold, but first we need to make sure that it's somewhat leather hard. I'm using a hair dryer and the banding wheel to speed dry the clay and get it to a stage that it will hold its own shape once I remove it from the mold. After a few minutes of hair drying, I'm going to pull away the lip of the bowl that is formed from the mold, just separating it from the edge of the mold so that the mold should pop right out. Voila! You can clean up the edge a little bit with a wet sponge or a rib, but we have successfully created a slab-built functional form. Thanks for watching, folks.